Welcome to the Investor Financing Podcast, where we interview real estate investors and lenders so you can learn all the secrets to getting your projects funded and scale your portfolio. Learn about fix and flip loans, BRRRR financing, rental, fix to rent, commercial, multifamily bridge loans, business loans, and so much more. And now, your host, Beau Eckstein.
Our guest today is taking advantage of that because he's in the single family real estate space, and he's actively finding off market deals through wholesalers and different avenues where he's going in and it looks like, we'll dive into it more, but his model is really to get into doing the quick flips, right? Like he'll go in and he'll find something and just get it done in 30 to 45 days and put it back on the market. He's also an agent. And he's also a very successful agent. He's done 200 transactions already in real estate sales, been in real estate for 5 years. And really, it's just the last 24 months, he's just picking up more and more steam. And maybe after this show, after he hears Vinny talk about multifamily, he's going to want to take some of that money he makes in the flipping business and roll it into multifamily. So we're going to kind of dive in with Brian Davila here, and he's in Southern California. He also has done some out-of-state investing, but he's also flipping in Las Vegas, my new home and his old home. And so, Brian, why don't you kind of introduce yourself a little bit more, and we'll kind of dive in with questions from there.
Well, yeah, you pretty much covered it, but yeah, I'm 29 years old. I live in Southern California. My office is in Chino Hills. Started real estate 5 years ago as a realtor, and transitioned to flipping homes like 3 years ago, and started buying rentals. I actually was thinking the other day, because I just bought a rental in San Bernardino. I was like, now I understand why people buy multifamily, because I'm doing a lot of work for just this one door, and I think it's like the same amount of work if I would have bought a fourplex.
All right. You said it, Brian, buddy. Hey, it's 4 times the one-time effort. Same thing, same transaction, same everything, right? But 4 times the result. Hey, I want to catch that nice plaque there, Mamba mentality. Tell me more about that, buddy. What's that?
I really looked up to Kobe Bryant a lot, so I just wanted to, surround myself with something to remind me to work hard, have a strong mindset, and, really dedicate my life to my craft, like Kobe.
Totally. So true. Every day we need to be totally passionate about what we want to accomplish that day. I always say that, right? If you want a $10 million day, you got to live up. And you got to really wake up yourself, say, hey, I'm going to have a great day. Million, 2 million, 10 million, that's just metaphor, right? But sometimes people are not alive. They're dead. When they get up in the morning, they just are dead. I don't know why they wake up. Literally, I'm telling you, why people wake up. If you're not going to be excited, if you're not going to be positive, if you're not going to be really, really ready to take on the world, then just sleep in, Anyway.
I'm excited now.
That's why I do this show, because I always say it's my jolt of coffee in the morning. It's like drinking like a espresso, like with 6 shots in it every day I do this show. So it's like, I love interviewing guys like you and people that bring a lot of value, but really it's a great thing for me because it starts my day. I go to the gym, and then on Fridays I come in and I'm ready to do the Vinny and Beau show. We talk about good stuff, a lot of different topics. And so let's kind of dive in with, what your business looks like right now. Like on any given day, what are you doing? You're dealing with clients, you're dealing with flips, you're marketing, you're prospecting. What kind of systems do you have in place right now? And what kind of systems are you going to put in place in the next 12 months to kind of grow your business?
Yeah. So my business has really changed, obviously, because of COVID.
Yeah.
So now I'm not really going on appointments as much or at all. I don't think I've met one seller in person this year. So everything that I'm doing is usually from my office. So on a typical day like today, I'll come into the office like around 8. I'll do some, busy work, like pay utilities. I have to sign loan docs later today, so make sure those go out. Make sure my contractors are paid, and then analyze deals. And then if a good deal comes across, I'll analyze it, try to lock it in, and then once it's locked in, I'll schedule an appointment to go look at it. And then I go home like at 4 or 5. So nothing too special.
You're packing in a lot of great activity towards the results, right? So Brian, tell us, man, I mean, you're closing almost one a week or the flipping, right? So give us that formula and what's your mindset, what's your funnel system, how you're able to get, all these loans and everything, or do you have a fund that you do with?
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break. Are you looking for funding? Are you getting frustrated trying to find a lender? Visit investorfinancingpodcast.com and click the Get Funding button. Complete the simple form and schedule a free phone consultation with one of our placement specialists. We have a proprietary directory of funding partners that can help you get the funding you need. It's fast and easy to explore the options available for your specific needs. Don't wait. Visit investorfinancingpodcast.com and get connected.
So on the money side, I work with Lending Home and Anchor Loans.
Okay.
And then I fund the projects with my own personal capital. I don't have any private money investors or anything like that. So I'll usually get somewhere like a 10% down loan. Okay. And then fund the rehab, and then Anchor Loans or Lending Home will reimburse me for the rehab costs. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's one of the beauties of like flipping houses is that you can get, once you have a track record built like Brian, you can get 90% of purchase and 100% of repair costs. So you need, so getting started in real estate, kind of like in single family mind, a lot of people start in wholesale, where they tie up the deal and then they assign it to a guy like Brian who flips it, right? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of progress into a flipping model, and then they progress into a buy and hold model where they buy, fix, and hold and pull out, get their money back. And then from there, what I'm seeing a lot of people do is go, okay, let's get let's start doing scales of economy. Right now, I can buy a fourplex and put down 10% or 20%, then get all my money back out when I refinance it, and then I hold it. And then Brian's going to say, okay, now it's time to read Vinny's book, and let's go buy a 20 or 30 unit or 50 unit building, right? That pays me
this one right here, guys.
Right? Like that's kind of the progression that I think like most of us want to achieve, is that, flipping's great business to make a lot of cash, right? Because I know I talked to you a couple months ago, and he was Brian had a lot of money in his bank. I'm like, man, you got a lot. You've done good. All right, you've done well. But at some point, we got to transition to get that passive money, that passive income, so you don't have to work as hard. And at 29 years old, right? I'm looking at him at 29. By 40 years old, you could easily be retired if you wanted to.
Oh,
yeah.
Like that's 35.
Yeah. So then and then there's people. Like what Vinny does, Vinny has like a lot of investors all over, so he raises money, right? So at that time, you got $5-6 million in your account. You could be putting 500 grand in a deal with a syndication, and you can kind of sit back. I mean, that's the point where I'd really love to be at, where I could just invest in other people's deals, and then right, like they have to deal with all the headache. I just have to make sure I'm betting on the right horse. Bidding for 500 grand, right? Like that's the idea, right? Like that you can build yourself up where you get your little money. Each dollar bill is a little employee going out every day for you, right? And that's the goal. Like if you wake up, that's a beautiful goal. Well, now Brian, how are you finding the majority of your deals? Are they mostly wholesale deals? Or are you also doing direct marketing?
So I always, my business has always been set up. I never rely on one stream because that stream could get cut off and then you're going to have to restart over. So I always market myself. I'll do like ringless voicemail or cold callers. I'll work with wholesalers or I'll buy off the MLS. So
Okay.
those are the three main ways that I buy homes myself.
So do you do letter campaigns or anything, or you don't do those things, huh?
No, I just do ringless voicemail and cold calling.
Oh,
Haven't
cool.
been email yet.
Do
I
you
might,
have some virtual assistant? Sorry, Brian. Yeah, I was thinking, right? You do in the Philippines or India or like that, or do you do
yeah,
it? Oh, you do. Yeah.
yeah. I have some cold callers from Nicaragua, and
Okay.
I might get some more cold callers today.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's nice. Nicaragua. I never really. I had VAs for last 20 some years all
Yeah.
over the globe. Nicaragua is a new one to me. I was going to say also, Bo, before I really missed the mark, you mentioned about 500,000, right? I was talking to one of my investors yesterday who is investing in my senior assisted living, right?
Yeah.
Only 3-year hold. I was telling both of you, Bo, that I said, hey, if you put 500, you will make 21% per year. He
Wow.
said, what are you talking about, Vinny? No, literally. He said, are you smoking or what? Literally. I said, no, that's the truth. Because in the assisted senior living development, the returns are so strong that we are giving preferred rate of 21%.
Wow.
That people will get of 500, 21%, 110,000 each year, quarterly paid into their account. He couldn't believe it. He just couldn't believe it. He says, really, 3-year hold and I get my money back? I said, yeah, totally money back. Or if you want to do 1031, you could do that also and not pay any taxes on the gain, on the equity gain, which is 40%, by the way. 40% equity gain we give for that 500,000. So 200,000, you have to not pay any taxes. He says, holy cow, I can't believe it. Anyway, no, please go ahead. So tell us more, like I know flipping has gone a different way. From what I heard, people who were really in wholesaling and flipping, they had hard time getting the inventory, I heard. But now, what's the deal now with the COVID?
With finding deals.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
finding deals now.
Uh-huh.
I don't. I don't have a hard time finding deals right now, but maybe some people do. For me, I really focus. My main energy is spent on finding deals.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry about the construction. I don't have to worry about all that other stuff. So my main role is really just acquisitions, and I'm good at it. So I don't have a hard time finding deals.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you say like your team member takes care of the construction part, or you have crews, or how?
Yeah, right now I have 2 crews. Because like right now we're rehabbing like 7 houses, so one crew gets behind. So I have 2 crews right now that I try to keep busy, so they only work for me. And yeah, like I already have the system set up where every house looks exactly the same. I use the same paint, same floor, same cabinets. So when they walk into a house, I don't really need to be there or explain anything. I just, I'm like, hey, this house, can you start October 2nd? Okay, and then just let me know when it's done. And then, this house, is October 15th. So yeah, that part of my business is really dialed in. So that
I
helps.
like that. I like that. Economies of scale are having the same plants and same materials. I know Mario Mazumoto comes to my mind, our good friend in the Bay Area. He flips in the Bay Area. And he also, I remember, same fireplace, right, Bo? Same kind of flooring and all that stuff. So that really brings economies of scale. So tell us a little bit more about multifamily. You said that maybe it will be what? How did you stumble into it? And yeah.
Well, I actually talked to Beau a couple of months ago because I was thinking about investing out of state.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking about it. I have a short-term goal right now of having $1 million net. So once I reach that, I'm going to start really looking at buying a lot of units out of state, or maybe in California, but even like 9 units in Riverside, you're going to pay more than $1 million. So the multifamily over here is really expensive. So I started looking into like Cleveland, Akron, Akron.
Why'd you go there? Do you have some family there? I lived in Toledo, not really Toledo. I lived in Bowling Green, by the way, and Findlay, Ohio. So I'm very familiar with the Ohio landscape there.
Yeah. I read an article by Brandon Turner, and he was just talking about how great Ohio is doing right now. And I started just really looking into it. There's a few agents over here where I live investing over there. So
beautiful.
Looking at it, we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think for somebody like you should look in like a secondary kind of like inland empire where it's not like super competitive, where you can pick up, a 9 or 15 unit building, because you can renovate it. Like, think about it like just like you're going to do a burr on it, right? That's what you're going to do. And there's a ton of financing out there for multifamily. That's like the easiest thing to lend on right now. And you can get these bridge loans, similar, maybe not as aggressive as the single family fix and flip loans, but pretty darn aggressive as far as loan to value and loan to cost. You go in, you renovate the unit, raise the rents, right? Because you can find these buildings that have been like the mom and pop buildings right now are just like totally mismanaged. People want to sell, they're getting into retirement. And what I like about that is that it's pretty common to be able to buy something for, I don't know, anywhere from 800 to 1.2 million, maybe like a 8-9 unit building in like a kind of like an inland empire market. And then, you put in 200 grand, and then now you got a building that you've raised rents 250 a unit. Now it's worth, it's now worth $1.5 million, right? And then you just refinance, take your money out and hold it long term. I mean, it's the same principles, really. And the good thing about commercial lending is that once you get a track record, you can go get agency debt. So you can get Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Like, now it's very easy for Vinny to go out and get agency debt because he's got such a good track record. Like, he just got a loan for, I don't know, 30 something million bucks.
Yeah, I know. A week before last. Yeah.
Because that's
fighting to give you the loan.
Yeah. They're giving money away in multifamily right now. I mean, in the smaller buildings, it's still challenging, but like when you get into like the buying the $20 and $30 million properties, but that's like the advantage that I really see versus like flipping, because flipping, you're paying the highest tax, right? Because it's short term. And if you do too many, you're considered a dealer. So you're really, you're really going to get your butt handed to you in taxes. Whereas now we can talk about accelerated depreciation, right? Like, there's a lot of advantages to getting into that type of model, like the buy, fix, and hold, and then refinance and pull your money out. Because then, like if you make $1 million, but you pay $400,000 in taxes, it's like, doing a lot so it may be better to do a little bit less and do more burrs, right? Like,
I want to. That's the reason why I'm buying rentals right now, is to try to offset my income. And then as far as buying in the Inland Empire, I think California is very liberal, and the rent control laws are really strict on multifamily. So if you buy a 9 unit, you can't just go raise the rents,
right?
Especially right now. So any multifamily property has rent control on top of rent control here in California. So that's why I was more looking in
outside state. Yeah.
That's why Vinny doesn't own any multifamily in
California at all. Zero. Actually, we were going to build 32 units in Bakersfield, bought 1 acre lot also. There were 4 single homes. I don't know if I told you, but there were 4 single homes. It was cash producing property, but I was going to level them or move the homes somewhere else and then build 32 units, but we didn't do it. But the key thing is what Beau is saying about a lot of our audience, by the way, if you're listening to us and all, are watching us, the key thing is you've got to find some tertiary market or primary market. Like I went to, Texas for 24 syndications. I did it in Texas alone. Just couldn't go anywhere. Small towns all over the place. San Antonio also big time, but rest of the were small. Odessa, Midland, Seguin, San Marcos, all that, and then south of Houston, and then so on. So I think it's go for it. The big thing I would like to say, Brian, don't. The longer you wait, all right, buddy. Now is the time to really dig into it and go for it, especially with the foreclosures coming up now. Some of the owners who might have owned it for so long, they might be putting the multifamily on sale in Cleveland, in Akron, like that. So I would start that process right away. This is the time when there is a downturn or recession hits the economy. That's when good, solid investors rise up. They wake up and they say, this is the time to purchase. Yeah.
What are your, can you what does an average deal look like for you? Acquisition price and rehab budget and then exit?
So usually I purchase homes under 200. For sure, most of them, almost 99% are under 300. And then I usually end up putting around $35,000 into it. And then I'll usually sell for around like 100,000 more than what I bought it. So if I bought it for 150, I'll usually end up selling it for like 250 or something like that.
Hold on. When can I invest with you, buddy? Let's just do it. We'll do syndication and we'll bring money in there. We can flip 1,000 homes.
Yeah. Well, let me know.
So an average deal for you, like after expenses, puts it anywhere from like 40 to 80,000. Is that your kind of, yeah?
No, I would say somewhere around 30,000, 30 to 40.
30.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like your price point because I see a lot of flippers, like especially when I was living in Northern California, they were doing San Francisco, and yes, some of them got they make like San Francisco deals and they get a $200,000-$400,000 spread, but the risk level on borrowing $2 million at one time and having a debt service that, right? If you're feeding all these deals, like you got 6 or 7 going right now, you're feeding them, right? What happens if the entry level market right now is probably the hottest market. It's been the hottest market, right? Because you can now buy a single family home cheaper than rent with 2.7% FHA financing, right? So I think, and usually in a recession, if I'm not mistaken, that entry-level pricing is the last to go. Like it stays around because, right, like people are buying it up before a recession really comes in. I think a lot of the upper end stuff is in certain markets, right? Like New York City, and a lot of people are moving out of New York City. There's certain markets that are actually like declining right now, and then there's a lot that are booming, which is weird, right? Like, so outside of San Francisco, like Oakland and places like that, everybody's kind of getting out of the core cities and they're moving to like the suburban areas if they decide to stay in those type, like where there's people like me that say, oh, I'm just going to move out of California. I love California, but I could just go live in Nevada and it's,
Hey, California taxes, man. Oh my God. That's a big number.
Yeah. But I like to really stay on the lower end because I'm a conservative person. So I don't, if the market turns, let's just say I bought a house for 150, like how cheap is a house going to get where I would actually lose money? It would have to drop even 10%. If it drops 10%, instead of selling for 250, 25, you know what I mean? And my houses are going to be turnkey ready, and there's such low inventory. I always try to be in the bottom 5 of any city. So even I'm looking at one in La Mirada I'm purchasing for like 400. There's only 5 homes under 500,000 in that city, and 4 of them are trashed. You know what I mean? They have tenants. They're nothing, right? I'm gonna put something on the market at like 5, 10, completely remodeled. Like, you know what I mean? Like the market would have to significantly drop in order for me to lose.
I would say that, isn't it, that you're not buying the ugliest home on the block then? I mean, you're putting only 35,000. That just is, what will you change in that 35,000, if I may ask, just for the audience? They might be calling you right there. We want you to reach Brian, guys, right there in the Southern California. We need to definitely, reach out. And also all the, our watchers, please tell us where you're from. Give us your name. It's always great, to give us name and then put some questions that we can answer. But no, Brian, you're giving great ideas, buddy. So 35,000, what do you change? Let's see.
And I can't see who's posting this stuff. It just says Facebook.
Yeah.
But for 35,000, I could pretty much do a complete rehab. So flooring, roof, some windows, bathroom, kitchen.
Oh wow.
See, he's doing entry level homes, and he just goes, you got to think, like, if you know what you're doing and doing entry level homes and you got the right vendors in there, I mean, even like flooring options, right? Like if you do a laminate, you could easily be the guy that goes spends $5 a square foot or $6 a square foot, but you could buy the same thing for 89 cents a square foot.
Oh.
It's just as good.
Yeah.
And like, if you're flipping a house and you're selling to an entry level buyer, it's going to look the same. They don't care. They're just happy to get a clean new home, right?
That's right.
So I like what you're doing, Brian. That's like, whenever I flipped a house, I always felt the best doing the entry level stuff. It's just so easy. There's no stress. And at the end of the day, here's Rich Bravo, Orange County. Brian kills it.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So you said I try to spend less than $2 a square foot. I don't go crazy and do anything. I always just look at the comps, like I said, in the area, and I compare what am I going up against. And luxury vinyl, that's really good flooring, for less than $2 a square foot. I'm not putting like stuff that's gonna mess up in a year. Like, the materials are getting better and better, and they're pretty cheap. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
I love your business model. That's like exactly what I would like. Whenever I did a flip, and I would say, okay, I want to do these kind of flips because, I did one out in Solano County, which is Northern California, and it was the similar kind of numbers, and it was just so easy because the product you deliver is everybody wants it because it's just, and I call it like Home Depot, even though it may not be Home Depot, but you get the idea. It's nothing custom, but it's just what people want. They want a nice roof. They want a certain color on the walls. They want a laminate throughout. Right now, nobody puts carpet anymore. And a nice accent in the bathroom with the tile, which doesn't cost much money. I mean, really, that's like, to me, is bread and butter. And I think even now, more than ever, with this pandemic we're going through, people are like starting to realize, hey, I like the simple things. I want to like move out of like the major cities. I can go live. I want a home office. I can people are, and at 2.5% interest rates on FHA financing, they only have to put 3.5% down. It's a no-brainer to buy entry-level homes right now. And so, even with the pandemic, I think that the entry-level stuff's going to keep moving because you're going to get people that are downsizing, people that have been renting in the city, this bigger cities, and spending 35. I mean, look at what people pay for rent in San Francisco, right? Like people are paying $4,000 a month for a little 500 square foot apartment.
Our daughter is,
Your daughter, perfect example. I mean, she can afford it, but that's the point.
I know she's got 895 square feet. I think is in a nice, very nice, newly built building and all that. But it's expensive. You're right. Yeah.
And the average house that I'm buying is usually like less than 1,200 square feet. So, the rehab cost of doing houses, I'm never hitting anything close to 2,000 square feet. Everything's like 800, 600, 1,000, 1,100 square feet. So that also helps keep the rehab low.
Awesome.
That's a good business model. Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think there are a lot more people now also in the selling where you're buying, and then also after you've rehabbed, there is a bunch of people who could afford that. See, that's the big part. And then you sell quicker. Yeah. So do you have your own brokerage also that you sell through, or no? You just go through some local,
No.
investor.
My business model is really everything about my business model. I focus on how I can net the most money. So for me, having a brokerage is not, that doesn't make me any money. I'm at 100% brokerage. I pay a flat $375 a transaction. You get a free
I love
office.
it. Yeah.
So I always pay attention to what am I netting. I don't want a bunch of overhead or expenses.
I love that. Love that. Very nice. Yeah.
Lean, mean, fighting machine. So Brian, why don't we talk about like what you're doing? I mean, let's get it kind of outside of real estate, but what do you do to kind of like have positivity mindset? Like what's kind of your go-to for like, what are you doing in the personal development world for yourself? What is your, what kind of habits do you have that have kind of driven your success at an early age?
Mm-hmm.
So what drove me in an early age? Well, I'm from Puerto Rico. So me and my mom moved to Las Vegas when I was like 5. And she raised me and my sister by herself. So I watched her struggle, I watched her cry, not be able to pay the bills. So when I was very young, I realized that money is important. So since I was like in the 6th grade, I've been saving money. Like I would get free lunch and I would go sell it, and then I would put the money in my locker. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the quarter, like take it out. So that, family, my mom, I have 3 kids. That's what really motivates me. And just being financially secure. That more motivates me than any, seminar or book or anything like that, because I watched the struggle in real life. So that's what really motivates me. I don't really read a lot of books, to be honest, or
and you don't need to. If your internal clock is ticking, if you're internally motivated, see all these what you just said, motivation seminars or going to these summits, and people know what they need to do, but we don't do it. We just don't do it. We go and get excited in 3-4 hours, in 3-4 days, and all this motivation, pay thousands of dollars, but motivation is internal.
I think the quickest way to get motivated, I'm going to make a YouTube video about this, is to stop thinking about yourself and think about someone else.
Love it.
We're just thinking about taking care of themselves, and as long as they're good, they're okay. But if you start thinking like, hey, my mom's still working, like I have an opportunity to retire her, why don't I try to do that? Or, my grandma needs, a new car, but I'm over here, just chilling, watching YouTube, that stuff is what really motivates me. But I do run. So running has really changed my life because, I run 2 miles a day. I try to run it fast. This month, I'm going to try to run like 100 miles. So running has really, for my body, has really helped me a lot.
Awesome. Fitness, it's so mind, body, soul, right? We talk about so many times that, we got to take care of the body. If you don't take care of the body, that's like the temple. I mean, we need to worship the temple. We need to worship our body, feed the right stuff going down the neck, and feed the right stuff which goes up into the brain. And, that's where everything happens right in between these 2 ears. If this is not right, if this is not getting the right feed and the motivation, like you just said, it's internal. It's just that drive that you want to help so many people. I'm so glad you said that, because any kind of business will flourish so much if they're always looking at how can we help the customer? How can we help the prospect? How can I really dedicate this week for my grandmas, or my family or my child or whatever? That week is going to be the best week ever. I'm promising you. That is what it is all about. It's taking the focus away from poor me, silly me, whatever me. I'm this big or that. That's nothing is important. It's just, sending all the different channels of energy out there. You bet. You bet.
Yeah, the quote that I heard like years ago that always stuck in my mind is like, you want abundance to flow through you, not at you. So I want my contractors to make money. I want them to be able to, support their family and go on vacation, buy stuff. Like, it's not just about me.
Yeah.
So that will motivate you if you stop thinking about yourself.
So true. So very true. It's isn't that right, Beau, buddy? If we help people get what they want, you will get what you want. I mean, Zig Ziglar, our big mentor, and also Jim Rohn and all the great mentors, we have been reading, writing, listening to them. That's what they talked about way, way back. I mean, even if we go back to 1920s, when the books were written like Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich, and Dale Carnegie's How to Influence People and Win Friends. I mean, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think it's the reverse way. I mean, those books were dynamite. They were written in 1933s. That's almost 100 years back. But the golden nuggets, what they have in there. And by the way, anybody listening to us or watching us, just go ahead and put on YouTube. Just YouTube, say Think and Grow Rich PDF or something, or even on Google. Just say that, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill PDF. Just say that word PDF. You'll come across all these places where you could just click on it and the book will be in your hands right away. Because these are monumental books, Dale Carnegie's How to Influence People and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, just say that and say PPT, PowerPoint, PPT. You will find all these great things over there. And then if you say PDF, of course, anything you want in the internet, you could do that. And YouTube. That's my best friend too. When I get up in the morning for Miracle Morning, I go through YouTube like crazy. I just look at all these great, whatever is going through my mind, I just put that subject and it just, brings out to you.
So Brian, speaking of YouTube, last time we talked a few months ago, you were going to work on doing a YouTube channel so people could follow your flipping journey.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that and how that's going?
Well, I just started posting, and then I had, more family in for the last 3 weeks. So now I'm going to start posting more and kind of documenting everything that's going on. Because before I wasn't really posting much about it. So now I'm going to start, walking through the rehab, sharing stuff like what I talked about earlier today. I was going to make a YouTube video about that, just sharing, thoughts that I have that have helped me throughout my 5 years of business.
Awesome. It's so great. I'm sure Beau will say the same thing. Record, because that will build your brand. I mean, Brian, you already are big, right? But the thing is, once you start this little channel on the YouTube, and also a good website where you could also reflect and put a squeeze page so that you can educate. See, everybody's got so much to offer free to a lot of people around you. And then they are able to then find out who is Brian, and then that's where your business will explode, Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting world. What's that law of it's like a law of attraction, but I can't think of there's a different name. But it was funny because 2 days ago I was learning about this kind of like very unique financing. And like that, I never get calls on. The next day, somebody called and say, "Hey, can you do this?" It's weird how things work. The world works, right? Like, if you ever thought before, like, "Hey, I know I shouldn't spend this money, but I really want to do this, or I want to jump in this," and you spend the money, and then like the next day you make $5,000 back from something, right? Like things in life work out for positive people. It just seems like that's the
law of attraction, law of manifestation, right? Right there, right, Beau? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah,
totally. It's just interesting. Well, Brian, we really appreciate you. We want to bring you back on, and we want to if you ever want to bring us on your show, we'd love to be on your show too. And thanks for coming by. And if you guys can look in the screen right here at Brian Davila. right? You can follow him there, and then you can in his bio, there's a link to his YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you can follow him, and he's making a commitment to post more more educational pieces for everybody to follow along with. And like, you know, just as we're going through his business model, I think he's in a great business model. I mean, if you're a newer flipper out there, you know, you should look at what he's doing, because I think it's probably one of the safest flipping models out there. And if you look at what he's doing, smaller houses, small construction budgets, on the lower end in that neighborhood or that city or town. I don't want to give it all away because you'll take his business, but no, I'm just kidding. But you get it. That's like a great place to start. Like, I think that's a great place to be always, because there's not as much risk as opposed to flipping, you know, $2 million houses or whatever, right? So thank you.
You can still
the other commitment I wanted to ask you was about multifamily. You brought it up, buddy. So what kind of thing can we expect from you in the multifamily?
Well, I've really been thinking about it, but I'm not sure where to start.
Yeah.
We had a coaching call with I think his name is Tim Bates, from Ohio, the guy that has like 3,000 units or something like that.
Uh-huh.
He was kind of breaking down how they get their deals and all that stuff. So it doesn't seem too complicated, but I need to talk to Beau about how to get the financing, and then really like maybe mastermind with people who are also trying to get into it, so I could kind of start learning more about it.
You know, that'll be amazing. I know John Rusin, Beau is giving the loan. You know, he's my VP of the academy. I have a school, by the way. I didn't know if a lot of people knew that or not. I teach every week also 2 hours long with masterminding all these great people all over USA. And also then the recording goes out to hundreds of other students of mine. And what it is that we have put together the models and my blueprints that I've been using for the last 12 years. So our friend, John is buying 20-unit building right now in Knoxville, Tennessee. So he's right there. And then several people have bought 50 units, 60 units, 100 units. Some people from not Chino Hills, Woodland Hills. They met me. And then last year they did 2 syndications in the first 2 months, 3 months. And they are just, so a lot of cool things happening if you are willing to, nothing important. But if you want to, we can. Oh, yeah.
You can start with this. You can get it on Audible. So when you're running, you can listen. This is a good book to give you a
good idea.
It's a good, I don't know, it might cost $19.99 or.
No, it's for $7.47 or something, I think.
For the hard copy?
No, for the hard is $12.
$12 audio. It's good. It's really good because it'll cover everything you need. And then, with all that cash you're making flipping, and then you do your first multifamily burr. We don't call them burrs,
you will 10x it really, literally, and maybe buying it in Akron and Cleveland. The price points are lower too over there. The biggest thing I find, Brian, is whether I should invest in it or not. Right, that's the biggest deal, and that's what we teach in the academy, doing the underwriting templates and all that, so that we could see where the cash flow is coming, what the expense is, where the rehab budget is going to go, all that stuff. So it's a very
right now. Are you guys buying multifamily right now?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Definitely. I just bought 2 weeks back, very big one. My first one was 14 units for $180,000. 14 units for $180,000. I just bought 2 weeks back for $35 million, 308 units.
Damn.
35 million. Look at that. From what I started 14 years back or so, and now I'm buying $52 million deal I bought last year in Orlando. Then I bought $35 million in December in Florida, also Melbourne. Then I bought other one just 2 weeks back with my partners. One partner only. We do 50-50. So, we raised $8 million. $8 million, baby, in just 3 weeks. 3 weeks, raised all the money. And then, and we got $22 million loan, and rest is history. 56 days, we closed the deal. 56 days.
How many units do you have right now?
Oh, 4,400 at the peak.
Oh, shit.
At the peak, we have 4,400. And now we are into assisted senior living also, which will be almost like, I would say, we are coming up here with 100 units. Usually we build 80 to 90 units, ground up construction. So that's another one. We are starting 4 of them. So that'll be about 800 units. No, 400 units, something like that.
What is motivating you right now?
What'd you say?
What is motivating you right now? Why are you?
Well, it's fun. I'm 68, by the way, 6'8". I just turned 68 last month, actually. No, 2 months back, August 27th. But the exciting thing is, that I don't have to work a day in my life, right? But it's the excitement. I just always have believed if you are not stimulating your mind, you're decaying, you're dying. I always feel that way. If you're not active mentally, physically, everything, you're going to die very quickly. And that's what motivates me, to bring value to my investors. And we have about almost 200 investors now. They're, oh my gosh, who's that? Winnie's the king, But the thing is, I'm providing 15 to 20% per year returns to my investors. Even 40% return per year I've done in multifamily. And they know those investors are watching me sometime or listening to me. They know who have gotten for 6 years in a row, 43% each year, 43% each year. They gave me 100. I gave them 252% in the end of 6 years.
Wow. How long have you been doing multifamily?
14 years.
Damn. How many units do you have, Beau? If you don't mind me asking.
I only have 15, so.
Oh my God.
Boy's getting there,
I'm a little guy, but mine are all small. I don't want to, so that's why I'm on this show, because, you're surround yourself with people that are doing it.
Yeah.
And I finance a lot of people that are doing it. And, it's really once you get the pattern down, right? Like,
it's very easy once you get it going.
Yeah. And so, I have some limiting beliefs, but like, it's really, I could go out and do it, right? I should go buy, like John's buying a building, and it's like, okay, somebody actually said that to me. They go, oh my God, John is buying a building now, right? Like
John, Mike Fritz, he's on the third one.
Yeah.
Holy cow. From Cincinnati, Ohio also. Ohio, hold on. Brian, you said Cleveland, Ohio, buddy, and Akron, Ohio. We have Mike Fritz right there and his wife. They're killing it. They're in my mastermind. They're just killing it, buddy. They just got one in Atlanta now. Atlanta that they're going for. And my good friend Barden brought that building to them, my broker over there. So I bring all my network to my students, so that they can start, we should chat, love to help you in any way I can. You bet. Yeah.
What kind of beliefs are you going through right now, Beau? I'm sorry.
Well, because if you don't think big enough, right? Like if you're like, anyways, I mean, like, it's really what you make of it. I just was, I was just listening to somebody.
Magic of thinking big. If anybody has not read this book, guys, I bought this book, or somebody gave it to me June of 78. Look at that date. I always write the date, my signature. I have been doing this. I've got so many books over there, but I always write and then I highlight inside and everything. So I have kept this book for 22 plus 20, 42 years. It's been with me. Look at that yellow color. It's just changed the color also,
Yeah.
So,
I heard somebody the other day, and he's 29 years old. And when I heard his story, I was just blown away. And he went from, in 2 years' time, a net worth of $200,000 to a net worth of $18.5 million through investing in commercial real estate. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm like, you know what? Like he did a deal in one day and made like $2.5 million.
But
It's like people like that, people like Vinny, they're just normal guys that just do it, right? Like they're not like rocket scientists. Well, some of them are, but
they're the more dumb people. Yeah, I mean,
they're just normal dudes that just go out and they figure it out and they take action and do it. And like that's why you'll meet people and they're like, yeah, I have like 4,000 units, and you're like, oh my god, that's so overwhelming. How did you do it? Like, but
see, I started from 14 units and I've done 32 syndications now. What does that mean? That I'm able to pool money together from my influences and friends and family and all to buy more and more and more and more and more and more. Here I had hard time raising $300,000. Now I can raise 16 million, 17 million. I raised 27.5 million in 3 months. I just counted it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was watching this show where you guys, I forgot the guy's name, but he was a software engineer, and he had all these units, but he had a full-time job and was buying units.
Oh my gosh.
Like, he was the most exciting guy to watch, but like listening to him, I was like, wow, like people are doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the reality of it is if what Vinny's doing, like Vinny loves what he does or he wouldn't do it. But for some people, it's not, they don't need to go out and do as many deals, right? Like for some people, it could be like, I mean, literally you could take the cash you had right now and probably go buy a 150 unit building that pays you 15, 20 grand a month, and you could live off of that, right? If you wanted to, right? It doesn't cost the average person's cost of living is, so like, it doesn't take too many transactions to become, 100% or to cover all your expenses, right? Like from passive income.
Yeah.
And I think if they start teaching this to the younger kids, like I look at my life now thinking like, geez, I should have done so much things different. When I finally decided to have children, although I'm 42, but I'm going to be an old dad. But when I do have kids, I'm going to teach them all the stuff, or at least try to, that will like if somebody is instilling these, things in your mind at an early age. And like, there's people like yourself, Brian, that like, Vinny came.
You're six, man. You said at school, selling your lunch. I mean, what an entrepreneurship mind you've had. And you are so successful. And I'm just thinking that, I'm so glad, I always believe in energy. And when we get together for a special purpose, and who knows that a year from now, Brian will be coming on the show and he'll say, I'm the king of flippers in the multifamily. I'm buying 10 units, 12 units and rehabbing them quickly. Now your profit is only not 1x, but it's 10x. Same transaction, same everything. So I hope you share that story with us,
Your mastermind, so
yeah.
What is that all about?
Totally, you bet.
I got into real estate to, retire. So I want to retire by 35. I don't retire like I don't have to work. I'm sure I'm still going to work because I don't be home. But yeah, I think that's the only way to really retire is by buying multifamily or rentals.
Yes. Having passive streams of income. See, what you're doing right now is active income. When you're involved on a daily basis, then it's active income, right? In W2 job, everybody listening or watching us, what you need to everybody should be working on, how can I get passive income? Where I'm sleeping, the bank account is getting money, by itself. So investing into real estate is the best of the best of the best. And especially now, I've gotten into the new thread, which is senior assisted living. 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day in USA. There is so much demand for senior assisted living. It's just ridiculous. For next 40 years, if I stay alive that long, there'll be so much demand. Even we keep on building, we will never catch up with the demand. Hold on. And the best thing is that assisted senior living is multifamily at its core, because it's 100 units, but the rent is not $1,100. The rent is $4,100 for the same space.
Yeah.
But you have more caregiving and the food and everything. that's why we are so excited about, we can give great value to our seniors to dignified life at the age of 80, 85 and all that,
But also the thing too is Brian, is Vinny didn't go out and like start operating these facilities, right? Like that's what you got to look like. What I looked at and learned from Vinny is that like he aligned himself with a successful operator, and the operator wanted Vinny because Vinny's good at raising capital, right? So now it's like, because you think like, well, that's an overwhelming business to get in, but really it's fundamentally the same thing he's doing, right? And you have somebody that you're doing a joint venture with that's got all the experience. So Vinny does what he's doing anyways, and now he's got a partner to help him on that side. So it was like an amazing way to grow, right? A good union of minds. And then, so I look at that kind of stuff like, like from a business perspective that, you don't necessarily have to be the one doing it, right? Like running the operations of the assisted living, but you could be the developer, you could be raising the cash, and when I'm around Vinny and stuff, then I go, okay, making me think like, I've always been a commission-based person. I can't stand it anymore, right? Like, especially because I'm 13 years older than you. Believe it or not, we look the same age, Brian, but I'm 13 years. I'm 13 years. But I go, I'm not going to be bitter. But I admire guys like you that are at your point, because you're right. Like you're the guys that can like take the next couple steps, and by 40, you're like living large, right? And so, but for me, it's like, okay, you got to get out of the transactional based business. You just have to. Eventually, it's like, but real estate from its core, and I'll always flip houses though. If something pops up, I'm gonna do it because it's a great way to make a bunch of cash for.
Sure, love it. Yeah.
So I'll always flip houses. I don't think I ever want to do volume flipping. It's just not. I don't enjoy it. Like maybe because you got to enjoy it. But I enjoy getting the checks. That's for sure.
We all do, right? Oh, it was such a pleasure meeting you, Brian, buddy. And good to talk to you. Thank you for sharing great nuggets today. And hey, guys, everybody listening to us or watching us, please go ahead and subscribe, put notifications on. Join us on the Vinny and Beau Show every Friday at 9:30 sharp Pacific. That's 11:30 Eastern Time. So thank you again, Brian, and thank you again, Beau, buddy. It was a pleasure. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Talk to you.
Thanks for listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. For show notes and useful resources, please visit investorfinancingpodcast.com. For questions or comments, email info@investorfinancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy our show, please share it with your network. Until next time.